Welcome to Rebuilding LA After the Fires. I'm Jan Brzeski, and in this podcast, I explore how Los Angeles recovers from the recent devastating wildfires. In each episode, I sit down with developers, community leaders, and other real estate professionals to uncover what it really takes to rebuild homes and neighborhoods. If you're looking to understand what's next for LA, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Doug Sandler from Turnkey Productions. I'm talking today with Jan Brzeski. Now, Jan is the host of this show, but today I'm actually going to be filling in just a moment because this is the trailer episode or the welcome episode of Rebuilding LA After the Fires. Jan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Doug.
I'm excited to chat with you and get into some of the whys. Why are you doing this podcast and some other questions? But why don't we start a little with the question, a very simple question. Sorry, let me say that again. Let me just start with a very simple question. Who is Jan Brzeski and why are you here?
Well, I've been a real estate lender for the past 15 years, lending money to home builders and smaller developers. And we've been based in LA. So I've done about 1,800 loans, almost $4 billion of loans. And the fires took place. I had actually relocated to the East Coast for a little while, and then the fires happened, and we moved back to LA. And it just seems like let me stop. I think I answered the wrong question.
That's okay.
Why don't you let's do another take. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Ask it again if you wouldn't mind.
So Jan, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you and why are you here?
I am a real estate lender that has focused on lending money to small real estate developers and investors and home builders based in LA, and done about 1,800 loans. I'm also married and I have two young adult kids, and I've been part of the real estate community in LA for probably about 20 to 25 years, and that's what I'm passionate about.
So let's talk a little bit about rebuilding LA after the fire. So this podcast is very timely in that we are just dealing on the other side of some pretty critical fires that happened in Southern California. Maybe could you share a little bit about what happened so that those that are listening to the show know where we are taking off from, our starting point?
Well, there were two massive fires. One of them wiped out most of Pacific Palisades, and one of them burned most of the city of Altadena. And in all, there was well over 10,000 structures that were destroyed. So rebuilding them is going to be a massive project that spans at least 10 years. And I've decided to focus a substantial amount of my time and effort on really understanding what needs to happen for rebuilding to take place. And I'm optimistic about the long-term future of these places, but I also understand there's a lot of uncertainty in the near term. And that's what I want to dig into on this podcast is how do we get through this critical first and second year after the fires?
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Rebuilding LA After the Fires, the podcast. What's the show going to be about, and what is the mission or the goal of the podcast?
The goal is to interview a series of people that have some expertise related to rebuilding and to ask them what's really happening right now, what are the obstacles, and also who is going to be building homes, how many people are going to sell lots, how many people are going to rebuild their own home. And we're going to look at it especially from the perspective of the developers. And I estimate probably about half of the lots will be rebuilt and redeveloped by people that buy the lot and then build it as a business, as opposed to owner occupants. So the purpose is to dig into all those things, but also a little bit of a lens of the developer investor perspective.
Let's talk for a second about who the show is for. Who do you hope would be the target or the ideal audience listening to your podcast?
I think anybody involved in the rebuilding and in the real estate industry in general in Los Angeles is the core audience. And that would include home builders, investors, developers. Also, owner occupants will be able to get a lot of very relevant, timely information that want to rebuild their own house, as well as lawyers, realtors, accountants that work with clients who've lost their home or clients that are thinking of selling their house. Essentially, anybody that's in that larger real estate community in Southern California would be the core audience.
Let's talk about the format of the podcast for just a moment. Will you be doing solo cast? Will it be mainly interview conversations? Will it be panel conversations? What do you anticipate will be the format of the podcast?
It will be interviews with people that I think have a unique perspective and something to add about the rebuilding that's interesting. And I'm going to be digging in to try to extract the most hard to get information, but important information that I think has been hidden so far in general. And then also, we'll probably end up doing a couple of events related to rebuilding. And there may be some of the same speakers that were podcast guests will be on panel discussions at the events. But the podcast is the first step in really understanding who's out there, who's willing to talk about what's happening, and I think we need to map out the territory. The way I look at it is there's just so much uncertainty right now. We need to start mapping pieces of that picture so that we can see the bigger picture more accurately.
Let's talk for a second about when the show will publish. It's such a timely podcast in that the relevance of the subject matter is time critical. When do you feel like this will be published?
Well, we're going to start the interviews right away, and each episode will be published within a week or so after the interview. And I anticipate there will be interviews every 2 to 3 weeks, starting this summer and then continuing on through the fall and probably into the winter.
Well, Jan, we're looking forward to the kickoff podcast episode. I know you have an interview that is already lined up and several more that are being set up right now. I know that there is a lot of information that's going to be brought forward to the public for you to consume that's out there. If you're listening to this podcast, if you want to check more relevant information and more timely information, just look in the show notes for relevant links about today's topic. Jan, I'm excited for you to host the show, and thanks for inviting me in to be the co-host for today's podcast. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing your expertise with our audience today.
I'm looking forward to it, Doug. Thank you. And also, we are eager to hear your ideas as viewers of other guests that we should have on the show as well. Thank you.
Very good. Excellent information. And if you want to get that information to Jan, just check the links in the show notes. It'll be relevant information how you can reach out to Jan and his team so that we can line up with your guests. Thanks for being here, and talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Thanks for listening to Rebuilding LA After the Fires. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend or neighbor who might benefit. Be sure to check the show notes for links and resources I mentioned today. And join me next time for more important insights into LA's rebuilding efforts.